So let's look at the basic way of the vertical four-corner hold. Now, remember, think about, and again, talking about, you hear a lot of Tate Shiho Gatame, Yoko Shiho Gatame, Kami Shiho Gatame. Shiho means four corners, okay? Now, the concept of holding in Japanese judo, and it translated over to every form of jiu-jitsu that I know of in submission grappling, is you're controlling the four corners of the human body, which are the two hips and the two shoulders, okay? That's the Shiho, the four corners, okay? And so that's the idea here, is I want to control his hips, I want to control his shoulders, and I will control his appendages because of that as well. And often the head is an appendage you'll control as well. So if you understand that, that's what the concept it's based on, okay? So a lot of people don't, why call it Shiho? You know, what's the four corner? That's why, okay? There's a basis of this. But we've thrown him, we've got him on his back, whatever the case may be, I've flipped him over, he's down, all right? And also remember, guys, and we all know this, you always, if you're the bottom man, the uke, you start with your feet up like this, knees flat. Don't lay flat out. I, always point this out. He's just asking to be had. He can't. Now he's not ready to do anything. So even in training, be prepared if you're the bottom man to be able to bridge and roll and get out of it. Okay, so there we go. Bridge and turn, whatever. So there he is. Okay, so there, feet up. Okay, Tate Shiho Gatame, vertical hold. Again, the basics, and there are a lot of variations of this. Is I'm going to straddle them. I'm just going to get on top of them this way, and this is where we have the mount and all the stuff that we see in MMA. And depending on your preference or your body style, whether you sit lower back on the hips or sit higher up on the chest, totally up to you. Okay. I'm a big guy. I'm a tall guy, so I can sit back on the hips and have fairly good control. Okay. And I'm just going to hold him for time. Okay. I can grapevine him. We'll show these in a minute. But the basic idea here is to just pin him down, and I can cross his arm over this way and catch this. I can grapevine out here. But in any event, my feet want to be under the buttocks, for me. And my knees are wide. They can be narrow, but I'm providing a base. I'm kind of a tripod. My feet are together under the buttocks. My knees are there, okay? That's why you see guys who are very good guys at MMA and do the mount. They can sit back. They form a good triangle with their knees and their feet. And it works, okay? You can do that even higher up in here. Same thing, and I'm sitting back. My feet are fairly close, but I'm still forming a triangle. Get up on a higher mount here, okay? High position. There's that. Or you can just hold them. I can just hold here and here. I basically got a head and an arm, and I ride them, and there's the hold, okay? Flatten out. You can post a hand here, or you might have just an arm and just post it here. Or hold on tight here. Whatever it may be, I'm still holding. There are a lot of variations of this. You might have a little more of an angle to it. Sideways, where my foot is now under the buttocks and forming sideways. You can even form a triangle or hook your ankles together. It's not recommended, but you could. And just hold out this way too, okay? I remember years ago, seeing Robert Van der Waal, great Olympic champion. He was fighting in our U.S. Open. And in those days, if your opponent crawled out of bounds, if the pin had started inbounds and the opponent crawled out, it was, referee called mate or stop. And Van der Waal was literally holding his Japanese opponent in the final like this, kind of a sideways Tate Shiho. And here's the line. He had his hand inside the mat area. Both bodies were totally outside, and his hand was in so he could keep the time in. And he won by a pawn for 30 seconds. That's when he still held him for 30 seconds. And he held him just like this, as I recall. Just riding him like this. The guy was stuck. But he hit kind of a side angle like that. And there was the line, and there was his hand. And a buddy of mine got a picture of it and sent it to me. And it was classic, great tactical judo and excellent technical judo. And that's how he won the match. So it's a very...
Generally, when I'm in this, if I'm up high, I'm looking for submissions. If I'm wanting to actually hold the guy down, I'm down low.
That's a great point, because if you're up high, because we like arm locks and chokes, there we can go for something. That's a great point from there. You can go sleeve chokes, you can bend arm locks, whatever. Right over to juji, okay? So you'll see that in MMA well. That's why they call it a high mount. He's moving up higher in the body to look for that submission. If you're holding him, that's a great point, Derek. If you're holding him back on the hips more, you're probably holding him more for time. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't want to.
So same thing that Steve was talking about. I get my knees very wide, and I either put my feet together or I'll cross the toes, not the ankles, because if you cross the ankles, then they end up coming down on them, and that hurts like that. But by putting your feet like this, it's pretty easy to get a nice wide triangular base. Okay, my hand on the inside catches his head, and again I'll either catch on the inside of his armpit, or I'll just hold him in nice and tight to my gi, and then I'll post a hand out. And usually what the hand is there for is just added stability. So when he starts bucking, that's it. And then as he pushes back up with his hips, if he gets high enough, my feet come up underneath. And now he's got my feet underneath his hips, and he can't bridge as much. And then you just sit here and you post where you need to as he bridges. And then if you have to, you can kind of push yourself back in. But it's a pretty effective holding technique. Like, strictly that's all I'm doing here. I'm going to ride the timeout, I'm going to get my points, and I'm going to immobilize you. The head's important because without controlling the head, if I've just got two hands out here like this, he's got mobility now. Okay, he can move around, he can turn on his side, he can bridge off of his head better. So you take that away from him as much as you can, whether it's grabbing the inside of the armpit, his gi, or your own gi. And then you use the one hand as your extra lever.
Hey everybody, we'll see a lot of people just put their hands out like Superman ride. And Derek has a great point here, because that gives Steve, the bottom man, see, he's got too much mobility. He's got too much strength. You've got to, by locking his head, controlling his head, you're taking a lot of his strength away from him, and you're certainly taking something you post off or, pry off the mat with. So take away all the weapons he has, if possible. That's what Osai Komi is about. Total immobilization of the body as best we can. And there you have it. Okay.
And try not to keep your hand down here, okay? Because again, I'm allowing him the ability to control that arm, and he might get his head free. Keep it out here, because that's the one area he can bridge you to get some traction on this. So you just post down there as needed. And that's it.
Tate Shiho Gatame, vertical. Tate means vertical. Four-corner hold. All right, let's work on that. We'll move on. We're doing the Peterson roll, which ends up in a Osai Komi and then into a Tate. So you Peterson roll, you roll them over, end up in a rear scarf lock or a Kesa Gatame. And then if you want to, come over to the Tate Shiho Gatame, come right over the top, and like in a mount situation, and you can hold it there as well. So either way works really well. You guys are just drilling on it. We're just working moves right now. And again, just working the skill moves. This is the Peterson roll into a Ushiro Kesa Gatame, or a Kesa Gatame I should say. Mike's doing it now, comes right over. He likes to get to the tate or mount position quickly, and it's obvious because he makes it all into one move, as you saw. So variations of it, it's a good way to get out of trouble from the bottom. It's a get out of trouble move, and if you can, put him in trouble.